There's so much talk about interest rates going to the moon, 10% or whatever.
Yeah.
Our hope and our thinking is that we're kind of cresting right now. That's what we hope.
And that's what the Bank of Canada seemed to signal at the last interest rate increase, right? That we're near the end.
Yeah.
Seemed to be the messaging.
I think they're still data dependent. I think it's too knee-jerk because these interest rate increases, like I think it's going to be a lagging indicator. Like this is going to cost people a lot, money not going into the economy to help grow our economy. So yeah, I think maybe another one in December, and then I hope they just sit and see what happens. Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
But I think if there's
Everybody
one
does.
thing we've learned from COVID is we don't really know, right?
No,
And
nobody
I think
can predict this stuff.
one of the interesting things that we were talking about is, you know, I have a little bit of remorse of, oh, why didn't I wake up and lock in sooner on that property? And a lot of people have that. But the truth is that during COVID, we were getting, you know, the messaging from the government that they weren't going to increase rates until 2023. And it's certainly, no one was expecting the pace of rate increases that we've had this year, right?
There's, I can't remember the exact date, but Bank of Canada, they stated that we won't raise rates till 2023. And here it's still 2022. And they've raised it at an unprecedented amount, right? Like 3.5%. I think a lot of people were just going to turn back the clock, but a lot of people made decisions based on that. There's other factors that go into it besides predicting where rates are going to go in terms of what's the right mortgage product for you. I don't think anybody saw this coming.
No. And like I could say, you know, for the last 10 years, I've always been in variable rates. Our primary residence, we locked in right before COVID in 2019. And all through COVID, I was mad that I locked in. Because I was like, oh, rates are so much better now. And now I'm very happy. But don't know, right? Like we can't, we're almost at a point right now, I feel like, where we can't look back to what's happened in the last 10 years to predict what will happen in the next 10 years.
From a rates perspective, there's fixed rates and variable rates. For variable rate perspective, they're going to raise it one more time in December. We hope it's 0.25 to 0.5%. Lower the better. After that, we're hoping that they just pause, but they are news dependent, so we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next coming months. From a fixed rate perspective, we're not seeing a lot of change. It's going to go between 5.5% and 6%, depending on your term and length of the mortgage.
Do you see any chance of fixed rates coming down? I thought I had heard rumors of fixed rates starting to come down.
Yeah, so fixed rates are generally based on the bond yields. So you can go Google bond yields in Canada and look at 1 to 5 years. Right now the yield curve, so it's early November, is inverted. So the 1 and 2 year rates are actually higher than the 5-year rate. So we're still not recommending anybody does a 5-year rate to get that slightly lower rate. It's just too long of a period to commit to a lender. But yeah, where they moved up and down a little bit over the last month, but no clear direction.
And from a market perspective, it's really interesting, you know, as we talked about, this next 6 months to a year is the unknown. And I think this is really based on the speculation of what's going on, and it's going to be based on psychology and fear and people's kind of emotional reactions. And I think that is the toughest period for us to predict. But we could see with pretty clear vision that in 2-3 years, very likely that we're going to have a very hot market. The government of Canada has been very clear in increasing their immigration targets, so they're wanting to bring in 1.5 million people. To put that into perspective, over the last decade, they've been bringing about 200,000 to 300,000 new people every year. And starting this year into next year, they're looking to increase that. I believe it's 435 this year, then 465, 485 in the next by 2025. And at the same time, you know, you've seen it and I've seen it, that developers are pulling product off the market right now because it's too risky to build with these high interest rates. So where we're going to feel that shortage of supply is really going to be 2 to 3 years from now. Right? So, and possibly economies back on track, rates may come down.
I don't think we're going to go back to 2% or below 2% for fixed rate mortgage rates or variable rate mortgage rates. Maybe we land somewhere in the 3s, probably in the short term, obviously just lower than we are right now. You know, in low 5s, then mid 4s, you know, just a gradual decrease. From our business planning, so we've kind of forecasted our demand and where we're going to get our business for the next couple of years. You know, we're not expecting a lot in the next 3-4 months until we get to spring. Second half of 23, we actually anticipate that we're going to be quite busy. And then 2024, all this pent up demand, you know, a lot of these high rate mortgages, you know, the shorter term ones that we've been doing, 1, 2, and 3 years will start to mature. The normal maturing of interest of mortgages as well. So yeah, 2024 we anticipate to be quite busy.
And that's when certainty will be back in the market, right? And
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is nobody knows what the market should be right now from an interest rate perspective or a price point from the realtor side of things. So I think once we know that, then people will feel more confident.